Good morning and welcome to WriterGreg on twitch.tv. So glad that you could make it and glad that everyone is here already in the chat. Thank you for joining me and glad to have all of you here. Had to say goodbye. Good morning to you too, Secondhand Samurai. Had to say goodbye to the wife and kids who are already heading off to school, and it's just going to be an interesting transition as we go from summertime to school time. So thank you so much, World Anvil, for the host. I'm glad to have you and all of your viewers who are maybe watching coming over and seeing me here. Thank you so much for that. All right, not a lot of announcements this morning, just we will have morning marches today, Thursday, Friday, and an extended morning marches on Saturday at this time, where we will on Saturday doing a 3-hour march as opposed to our daily 90-minute march. So just wanted to let you remind you about that. Also, we do have our 1 million lemon challenge that is continuing on. If we collect 1 million lemons by November 25th, I will celebrate the end of NaNoWriMo on November 30th with a 24-hour live stream. So if you like seeing yawning and a barely coherent host who's going to try to write stories and all that fun stuff, please donate your lemons today. All right. There have been a lot of people in the chat who have noticed that you can donate up to 2,000 lemons per stream. And as Secondhand Samurai has donated some lemons today, and some have been putting off the but you only get notified once. Like I appreciate Secondhand Samurai and Moonflower for both contributing their lemons this morning. And unfortunately, if they contribute again, it'll still take the lemons. I just won't know about it. For example, Moonflower just donated twice. However, I only received the one notification. So you can donate as much as you want, as often as you want, but I will try to shout out when I receive a notification. So if you do donate and I don't see it, that's why. Dazzler Cat, welcome. Good to see you this morning. So there have been some who've been waiting to the end of the show to accumulate as many lemons as they want, as they can during the show, and then donating at the end. Whichever is great, and glad to do it. Moonflower, I don't remember who wanted to do a sprint takeover. I'm afraid I don't. I don't remember that. It is. Water. Okay. Well, that's great, but why don't you hold off, keep that powder dry, and we can just see. Was it Kidopoi? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Sorry. Keep that powder dry. Let's see who shows up, and we'll go from there. Okay, so there is 10 minutes till our first sprint of the morning, day, evening, whichever time zone is most applicable for you. But let us start with our thought of the day, if I still have it up on my screen, which I don't. Uh-oh. Just a minute. There we go. If you'd like, Moonflower, that's fine. But I just don't want you to spend the lemons. I forget about it, and the person never shows up. That's just my only concern. I will try to I'll remember that someone wants to do a sprint takeover. I'll keep asking about it throughout the morning, but until that person shows up, I think you can. Oh, if they don't use it, you will. Ah. Well, let's get with the. Yeah, it's okay to hold off for now. All right, so today, our morning thought today comes from this Pixar meme. What Pixar taught me, and I really do enjoy the Pixar stories because of what you can learn, and in a very entertaining way. It's not about the finish line. It's not who you are. It's what you do. There's nothing like home. People may die, but dreams don't. We mark our own path. Friends are for life. Heroes are not about size. Things are rarely what they seem. No ocean is too large to cross for the ones you love. We are stronger when we are all together. Those are some wonderful morals, lessons, ideas, or themes that are portrayed in the medium of digital 3D animated movies. So, the question I have for you is, what are the themes that you portray in your stories? Or what are the themes that people are taking out of your stories, whether you intend them to be there or not? Think about that. No need to answer. Don't need to answer this in the chat, but think about what kind of messages are you sending across? Are you only entertaining, or are you trying to share a little insight of your view of the world? This doesn't mean that we need to preach in our stories. This doesn't mean we're trying to indoctrinate in our stories. But is there a little message that you as the author are trying to share with the world? That maybe there's nothing like home, or friends are for life. It's interesting. What kind of message or theme are you imbuing in your story? An interesting thought, intentional or not, but something that you may want to think about when you are writing your stories is, what are you trying to entertain, or are you trying to do more? So there you go. All right, let's close that down. Bring this back up. All right, so what is everybody working on today? We will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know how many. 5 sprints. We will be having 5 sprints this morning of 10 minutes each, starting every quarter hour. And I am still working on the short story editing that I am working on a deadline. My deadline is September 30th. All right, Moonflower is expanding nation stub articles for their world in Delmenia. All right. And so I'm editing. My first round of edits, I am doing the passive voice test. If anyone is familiar with passive voice, it should be killed, banished, gotten rid of completely. So said is okay. We're not going to kill said everywhere it goes, but we should kill passive voice. And you can tell if you're using passive voice if you use the by zombies test. The test is, but at the end of your sentence you add the word by zombies, and if it still makes grammatical sense, then you are using the passive voice. The apple was shaken from the tree. Okay, yes, said isn't dead, but kill passive voice with fire. Very true, yes. So the example I just gave, the apple was shaken from the tree. Well, the apple was shaken from the tree by zombies. That makes sense, and so that is passive voice, and we want to get rid of that. So the better example is the main character shook the tree and the apple fell. So the protagonist shook the apple tree and the apple fell by zombies. See, that doesn't work. So that way you know that the voice that you use for that sentence is an active voice. Tillers, welcome. Glad that you could make it. And thank you for bringing the ducks to the chat. Glad to have you here. Thank you so much. All right. So we have 3 minutes before our first sprint. I'm looking to kill passive voice. And, Tillers, your duck may have coffee, but I have my water. That sounds so stupid. I'm sorry. But I'm a dad. I'm a dangerous creature. I'm a dad on Twitch. That means I laugh at my own jokes. And the jokes are dad jokes, by definition, because I tell them. Dad jokes for the win. Okay, so let's get ready to go. So I am over here in World Anvil Manuscripts, or Project Homer, where I am working on The Runaway's Return. Scene 2 is as far as I got yesterday, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. So figure out what you're going to be writing or editing or polishing, or we can do this. Stay positive. Wow, that is a fun emote banner. Dazzlecat, I am doodling while trying to figure out how to connect minor plot A and minor plot B. Interesting. Dazzlecat, did you see my triangle discussion earlier? I forgot when I did it. Look for triangles. And what I mean, relationship triangles. Okay. Look for relationship triangles, because we all know about the love triangle, but that's not the only triangle out there. There are conflict triangles. There are friendship triangles. There are just acquaintance triangles. And wherever you have those triangles and how they interconnect with each other, like a woven net of triangles, or a 20-sided die flattened down and it's all triangles. That is, if you have a similar character between minor plot A and minor plot B, then you would be able to have that connected, because you have your triangle of conflict that is powering minor plot A. You have your conflict triangle that's powering minor plot B. Well, one of the vertices between those two could be the same person. Oh, and there is our alarm. Good morning, eSongbird. Glad that you could make it. All right, there we go. That is the first sprint reminder of the morning. So let me come over here and start the timer. All right, there we go. All right, so let's just go music up, microphones off, and I will see you in 10 minutes. right. How did everyone do? First sprint. I had to rework a couple of sentences in there. Let me tell you about one of them. To Lev, she looked like she was encased in a large egg of clear flowing water by zombies. The zombies could have put her in the large egg of clear flowing water. And so I had to get rid of that. Because zombies don't do that. And so what I changed it to is the light appeared as a large egg made of clear flowing water. The shimmering ripples flowed gently around her, ripples flowing gently around her added to her aura of authority. 275 words, Moonflower Writer. Awesome. That is well done. So anyway, I just wanted to share that example that I found in that first sprint of words that had to be taken care of some passive voice, just in case. All right. Another thing that I found that was interesting was the chieftain regained his composure and stood at the head of the table. Now, when you think about that, and kind of in light of the motivation reaction pattern that we have, where we talk about a feeling, a reflex, or a rational action. Oh, you also made 2 stub articles. Nice. What I wanted to do is change that. Thank you. I wanted to change that so that it was the chieftain stood at the head of the table and then regained his composure. Because the idea of having, which would happen first more commonly is, well, the chieftain stood up and then adjusted and regained his composure. He wouldn't regain his composure and then stand up. The act of standing up would come first, in my opinion, in the vision of my head. So even the order of the clauses that I have within a sentence is important to give a visual of what is happening. And oh, Coda, we have a little pup trying to escape. Oh well. My dog the dog was led into the office so not to try to run away when people went into the car for the carpool. So if we come back, if he comes back, I'll pay a puppy tax. But yeah, I think he's staring out the front window watching people leave. Okay, so that's just some ideas, thoughts I wanted to share of some of the edits that I did. And yeah, there we go. I also have major minor plot mixed with minor plot A and minor plot B. Oh, that's good. Hey, Coda. Hi. Come here. Oh, there we go. I'm paying my puppy tax. He doesn't. Oh man, he does not like. Oh. Sorry, people. He's getting pretty big. Kiddo boy, welcome. Okay, here, have some food. He does not like being picked up much anymore. On my shoulder. All right. All right, Kiddo boy, if you would like, do you want to do this sprint or would you like to do the next sprint? You can use this sprint to get ready for the next sprint takeover, or would you like to do this one right now? would be good. Which one? I guess I gave two options. Oh, interesting. Now, okay, so I am going to open this up. I am going to. Ooh, that chapter. Okay, Coda, you. Okay, just be quiet. I've been here the whole time, but I'm neck deep in sword types. Okay, so let me start. Okay, I think we can make it through this. Let me start the timer, and then that is a really cool graphic you got there. So start. Turn off the music. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Let's close that. Chapter 1, The Salvager Captain. A different plane from the multiverse manifests in the Quirinal pit every day. Nevertheless, life and trade thrive in this 30-mile hole in reality. At dawn on the day of Prime, I knew that I'd be working. The new plane, the Manifest, broke into our world with a burst of cold, salty air. The winter ocean had arrived, tempering the summer heat over the Quirinal pit. Outside the hangars of the Quirinal Salvage Society, I paused to look northeast. The divers arced over the pit, leaving distinctive energy trails as they surveyed the brand new ocean that had appeared. I could tell from the pattern that they were on a simple survey. They weren't accounting for hostiles, probably no sapiens to negotiate with. I rushed into the enormous building and threw the switch. The towering hanging doors opened with a rumble. My crew of dozens represented a slice of the mortal races living on the pit. They were gorging themselves from the guild's breakfast tables, fuel for a hard day's work, or a free meal at the company's expense if we didn't win the quota for the manifest. Look alive, boys and girls, we're fishermen today, I shouted. Fire up the zeppelins and finish up the prep on the boats. I sniffed the air again. Second squad, get the kelp harvesters going. The crew dispersed among the vehicles, some putting away harvesting and mining equipment, while the Goliaths pulled the boats forward to the waiting zeppelins. Helm, did our crystal get enough charge? Aye, Captain Ardic, responded my helmsman, Ebri, a tough Genesi woman. Sorry. The manifest snapped in nice and hard. We're cracking today. She made a hand movement, muttering under her breath as she bound the energy crystal to my command vessel, the Ready. With a grunt, it slid into place. If the bitters buggers it again and waste our time, I know exactly where to put this extra power. She looked at me and let lightning dance on her fingertips. I smirked and responded, Keep it in your pants, Helm. The surveyor hasn't even called it yet. We might have to negotiate with merfolk or, God forbid, some chirpy dolphin bastards. I returned to check the prep on the trawlers before they went on the zeppelins. As I pulled on lines to check the knots, a goblin clerk went upstairs, approaching a goblin clerk from upstairs approached with a young blonde human in tow. Captain, the bosses want this one to shadow you today. Without looking over, I commented, Sure, give him to the second squad. The clerk grunted and held up an order with the seal of the board on it. My apologies, Captain. They insisted that he shadow you. Respectfully, could you please answer all his questions? I snatched the parchment and gave it a cursory glance and stuffed it in my pocket. Fine, you may leave. As the goblin scurried off, I looked closely at the golden interloper. He was young, pale. Wait. Oh, young blonde human. Okay. He was young, pale, in his early 20s, and thin but sinewy. His clothes were appropriate for salvage, plain but well made, as his hands held the calluses of a swordman. His gaze was direct as he looked me in the eyes. Do you have a name? He answered dryly. Dillon, Captain. Dillon Heron. You can ask me your questions, Master Heron, but get in my way and I'll throw you off my ship. Of course, Captain. Please, tell me about yourself. Is this an inspection by the Zone Authority, or are you a newspaper? He responded with a pointed look. I'm under the seal of the board, Captain. I began with my familiar patter. I am Captain Bentley Argaric of the Crinal Salvage Society. I am in command of the Ready Hangar here in Garrison City, which is also the zone headquarters of the Society. On harvest days, we bid for the right to enter the manifest and responsibly collect natural resources. Harvest Day? When a new plane manifests in the pit without sophents to claim the resources, the Concordance declares a harvest day, and we get to work. How often does the manifest have inhabitants? When we get a mortal world that's safe to enter, about 1 in 9 or 10. At that moment, the hedron on my wrist buzz. We all checked our hedrons for the surveyor's call. Horn 1 prime unknown ocean animal population 6. One enormous horn blast pealed out over the entire city. That's the call, team. Final prep. We launch in 5 minutes. As I turned toward my command vessel, the Ready, the Golden Interloper said, Captain, could you please explain that? I'm newly arrived here in the Concordant Zone. I don't understand your jargon. Master Heron, I told you. You can call me Dillon, Captain. Master Heron, I continued, I don't have time to babysit. I'm sorry, Captain, but I must insist. I won't get in your way. But you've been directed to answer my questions. Then keep up, Master Heron, I continued through the hangar, inspecting the ships as they are winched into place on the Zeppelins. So what's this message that I got on my Hedron crystal device? Please explain as if I had just arrived. He held up a brand new octohedron on a fresh, unmarked wristband. I went back into my reliable patter. That's the call of the Surveyor of Worlds. Every morning, as soon as it appears, the Corinal divers fly over it. Sometimes the manifest is a scheduled world, but once or twice a week we get a random world. A little randomness is a price we pay for order for the rest of the week. They double-check that the correct world has appeared, or they survey a new world. Once he's done, he makes his call, and everyone in the zone gets the results on their identahedron. I hold up my left hand, and my hedron is strapped toward on the inside of my wrist. So, the message means, please explain the device as if I just arrived here, Captain. Buggering inspectors, I muttered under my breath. Hedrons are soul crystals that serve as identification and communication. Some folks use it for money or other things, but I don't trust gold unless I can hold it in my hand. So, anyone can say anything to any one of these? Captain Hedron doing preparation things. No, you have to have a comm synced and you only get 25 words, but the officials and the authority are synced to everybody. The surveyors work for the biggest of the big boys, and he talks to everyone in the zone once he's surveyed the manifest with the call. So the call? Captain Heron doing preparation things. That's the diver's cipher. First, he gives us the horns. 1 horn for peace, 2 for war, 3 means flee. We got horn 1 today. For us salvage, that means profits. Prime unknown means that we have another mortal world, but one that's never been the manifest. Ocean means what you think it does. Animal means that we have relatively normal creatures, no undead, elemental demons, or anything exotic like that. Population 6 means on a scale of 1 to 10, we're looking at a massive haul if we win the quota. What's the quota? The zone is split into 8 units. We call them cantons. North, northeast, east, southeast, etc. Each one of those cantons sells their pie section to the pit resources to the highest bidder every morning after the surveyor makes his call. So you have the quota? Not yet. Our bidders have to do their job. Our guild surveyors are out in the wall now and sending information to the bidder, and the information comes over these ident-hedrons, Master Heron. And yes, if you and I were to touch our hedrons together and make a comsync, we could send each other 25 word messages all day long. Interesting. That's the magic of the zone. My hedron digged, and I announced the crew. That's 5 minutes. Positions. We're going to the wall. Helms, take us out. I turned to Ebri, standing at her station just behind mine. Nice and smooth, Ebri. She held out her hands over the command crystal, and the Zeppelin rumbled to life. We floated out, leading our squad over 3 vessels. We floated out, leading our squad of 3 vessels over Garrison City as we set east towards the wall. The city was in full swing. It comes alive just before dawn every day and reacts to the call. Description of Garrison City. The competing guilds were also leaving their hangars, hoping to outbid us for the quota. As we ascend above the buildings and smoke, we caught our first glimpse of the manifest. An ocean of cold, rolling waves filled the pit today, unruly waves thundering as they crashed against the thick wall. We floated over the rail lines, trains full of soldiers returning to the city, standing down after Horn 1 call. How far to the pit? Okay, wow. Really cool world building. I like the descriptions. I like the technology. I couldn't tell you the exact thing, the exact genre on it, but I do like that we got an idea fairly quickly that yes, this isn't fantasy. Yes, there's technology. Yes, there's magic. The use of describing the different species, the different species that were there, orcs, humans, genasi, things like that. That worked really well. I like the idea of the world that you have set up. Yeah, the concept is pretty cool that you have here. The questions, and I really like, this is Kiddopoi's article. The device that you're using of a newcomer coming in and asking a bunch of questions and being the new kid on the block to be able to avoid an information dump is really good. Okay, that concept is very good. However, it is still, the way that you've done it here is still a little little on the nose, and it is still does sound kind of like a maiden butler talks, as you know, and all this stuff. And so it's a really good start. I would insert more action around here, but you really do. You have that Captain Heron doing preparation things. So you have those placeholders in there really good. That's where I'm stuck. I wanted to do a short story, but it's turning into a novel. Okay. If you're turning this into a short story, this is not a short story beginning. This is a beginning for a novel. For sit down, buckle in. You're going. It's your first fiction in 10 years. Hey, been there, done that. I know how this feels. In Okay, I'm starting another sprint, but I'm going to keep talking. Okay. All right, so people record your sprints, start your sprints, save your work, do that stuff, but I'm going to still keep talking. So, because I think there's a lot to be able to discuss about this, and it was a long section, and yeah, it was good. So, in media res is in the middle of the action. So jumping in the middle of the action all of this is well described, well constructed. You're going through. You have action to prevent the information dump. Could have a little bit more, but you already know that because you have that. The introduction of only the two characters works really well. But if this was a short story, I would probably have them already in the rift uh, in the middle of the action already. Because when you think about a short story, you get one simple conflict, you get one, maybe two scenes, depending on how many words that you have. Like my 5,000 word short story that I was editing earlier today only has 4 scenes in 2 locations. So uh, you need to think about how much that you can put in. Mary Cowalt from the Writing Excuses has a formula for figuring out how much you can put in a short story. So yeah, this is a great first chapter for a novel, but I think it's too early in the story for a short story. Some advice that I've heard, I don't remember where, is that the problem with short stories is that people write the beginning of the story and that's a first chapter. Yes, E Songbird, I will try to find that. The it's Mary from Writing Excuses podcast. So if you do writing, I have the link somewhere. I'll just need to find it. Um, train of thought. Oh, shorts. It was the advice that was given was that if you write a short story that you then want to turn into a novel, the short story should actually be the climax of the novel, not the beginning of the novel. Okay, think about that. Yes, writing excuses. I'll need to get the exact link to that thing in a little bit. So if you think about it this way, your short story needs to have an arc. It still needs to have characters. It needs to have a climax. It needs to have a success. It needs to have that kind of stuff. That happens at the end of the story. So if we should not think of short stories of this variety as the beginning of a story or a first chapter. We really need to think of short stories as the last chapter of the book, at the end where the hero wins. And if we were to turn a short story into a novel, that short story is actually the end of a book, not the beginning. You have great fiction here, but the fiction that you have is the beginning of a story. That's why it feels like a novel, because you are beginning your story here. What I would recommend is write the end of your story. It's a day in the life of story. So you have your kind of a slice of life vibe here, a day in the life on the Coronal Pit. I would say that your short story should be them coming back or the winning that they had. What was the success that they have? And you have this greenhorn newbie here. I swear, I need to hide my phone. Okay, that's the perfect explanation for what's going on in my head that's busting up my thoughts. Okay, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that was helpful. So I would change this story. Something just happened. Oh, Archar, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. So, okay, just to sum it up again, I really like what you have here, and it is a good start for a story. It's just that I would have this. I would be at the middle. They're in the ocean. I do like the Zeppelins, the boats, attachment, they're all ready to go, but that's where you're that's not a satisfying ending. It doesn't give us the catharsis of a satisfying ending because you're telling a beginning. So, my recommendations: keep this, don't get rid of it. It would be a great start for a novel. However, I would write the end of the story or the evening, the last hour of their shift on the water where they pull in the big haul, they celebrate, and that way this person uh do you okay, Kidopoi, do you remember watching The Little Mermaid? The Disney Little Mermaid, where you have Prince Eric out there. He's just excited and he's in it. But then you have that stuffed shirt, butler type person who's kind of seasick. You know, you could have your, what's his name? The blonde human being that kind of a character. And he's just trying to go along. He's pestering out questions. So instead of pestering questions in the beginning of the story as they're walking through, dressing up or dressing down, doing the pre-flight check, you have him pestering questions while the captain is actually doing stuff. Oh, what's this? What's this? What's this? And, you know, that would increase the tension because the captain doesn't have the time to talk to this person. The captain doesn't have time because she's in the middle of, you know, I need to batten down the hatches. Hey, there's something going wrong here. There's an unexpected whale here. Moby Dick is about to kill us, and you're asking me questions? Seriously, people? You know, that kind of attention. And then they win. They have the cargo, and they're going home for maybe 500 words of going home and end of the story for a denouement, or like almost no denouement because I had to chop off my denouement for my writers, uh, the Runaways Return, because I was over 5,000 words, so and it was easier to chop off the denouement than to rework the rest of the story. So anyway, that was a lot of blathering. I hope that helped, and I hope I didn't spike my microphone. All right. Glad you liked it. Okay. This is cool. I love the world building you did here. I needed the focus. Good, good. I'm glad that you liked it. Really informative blabbering. Well, I'm glad that you liked it because that's what we're here for. We are here to work better stories because, like, even with dungeon masters, what episode, what, or, okay, Critical Role. I know, I love watching Critical Role. Which are the fun ones to watch? The fight scenes, or the shopping scenes. There's a reason why Travis Willingham doesn't like the shopping scenes. They're important. They provide continuity. I love Pumat Soul. I think and Gilmore. I love those two characters. But that's not why we go and watch the show. We go for the interactions, we go for the adventure. But Pumat Soul is just cool. I just like that. Okay, so you got 2 sprints takeovers for the price of one. So I'll give you the second one there. No worries about that. Thank you so much for having the courage to share your first fiction in 10 years. That is really brave. I mean, I don't know if I would have had that courage, Kiddo Poi. That is, um, yeah. This is very brave, and thank you for trusting me and this community with your words and being open to critique. And and your mileage may vary with what I said. Okay, so that is the end of our second sprint. We're on we'll have a 5-minute break before we go back to writing. Let me, I am going to try to find story length. No. Formula. No, not that. Okay. Oh yeah, I hope you feel better, Moonflower. And the VOD will be down below. Video on demand will be down below next time if you want to watch it. And Archwar, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I hope that you have a. Thank you for joining us so early in the morning. Let's see, writing projects. Aha, story length formula. Aha, here we go. Okay, this is a spreadsheet. Can you guys see that? Okay, here is a link to the writing excuses, choosing the length of your story, and the formula. The length of the story is equal to your characters plus, what's L? What was L? Oh, locations. Add the number of characters and the number of locations, multiply that sum by 750, then multiply that number by 1.5 times the number of mice elements the story incorporates. So, so far, Kidopoi, to take your example a little bit farther, you have two characters. Okay, you have two characters. You have one location so far, and you have how many mice quotients you have? Milieu, I do, character, event. You have event, so let's change that to 1. So that means your story, to really dig into two characters in one location, meaning the hangar, and you're talking about an event, that story should be around 3,375 words. Now, if you go in here and you add a second event, or I mean a second location, because you need to actually get over into it, then then you would need to you would bounce up to 4,000 words. But if you add now when they say character, a character, yeah, what this character does and why they do it. Okay, I'm not talking about your bosun or your pilot or the little goblin that brought the human over. I'm talking about major characters. So there's your choosing the length. This will help you plan a little bit more on the length of your story. And that's why when you start getting into epic storytelling and you have 5,000 characters, that's why you need a bazillion words. Okay, so eSongbird, there is the length to the specific article from Writing Excuses from 2017. And if you follow that link, which is being very slow on my computer, probably because I'm streaming, there is going to be a 15 to 20 minute audio podcast explaining this much better than I can do. So there you go. Writing Excuses. Okay, dismiss. Oh yeah. Okay, they do have 15 seasons. There is a lot of stuff in there. But if you, the cool thing is that some of the older ones, okay, they have, like if you want to learn more about characters, plot, world building, you can click those different episode tags. But yeah, the liner notes. Yeah, okay. Let's get back into sprint. Oh no, those are seasons. Each season is a year. Like, yeah, season 15 already has 33 episodes in it. um, if you've heard of Brandon Sanderson and the Mistborn series, Elantris, all of his stuff, this is his podcast. He's a professor of creative writing at Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. Yeah, those are seasons. I think my favorite season is season 11, talking about elemental genres. Um, element of wonder, yeah, idea as genre. Anyway, sorry. Okay, sprint. We need to sprint. But yes, Writing Excuses is an excellent, excellent resource. All right, I don't get that rid of that. Bring up the timer again. Starting a new timer. Let's turn the music back on. Turn the music up. Microphones off. I will see you. See you in 10 minutes. All right. End of the sprint. How'd everybody do? You can report on the last 3 sprints since I did ask for reports the last 2. I'm glad you're feeling better, Moonflower Rider. How is everybody doing? While I wait on reports being typed in, I wanted to got like 2 lines on of paper. It's a mess. Mess. Gere. Okay. All right. Oh, here. It's a mess here on my paper. Oh. Okay. Yeah. All right, so I did want to. One thing on this story is like talking about point of view that I picked up. Listen to this sentence. He snapped back to his senses. His hand crossed his body to draw his sword. I am the defender of this commune. You cannot take them away. This is by the antagonist of the story, and I am in a limited third-person point of view. The problem with this pair of sentences is this first part. He snapped back to his senses. We're talking about the chieftain of the story. In third-person limited point of view, Lev, the main character, we can only sense what the main character is feeling or thinking about. I don't know. I haven't looked at the calendar. I don't know who's streaming after me. So he snapped back to his senses. That is something that Lev cannot know, cannot perceive. He can see a shrug. He can see mannerisms, but he can't see another person snapping back to their senses. So I had to remove that sentence because limited third-person point of view. So that is another thing to go through when you're working on your stories, is making sure that your point of view is consistent with the point of view that you are trying to do. So just wanted to bring that up. Okay. Another sprint. All right, this is the last sprint of the morning. And then we will try to find somebody to raid. If not, we'll figure something out. Yes, Q, thank you. I will hydrate as soon as I start this sprint. Red Fox is online. Good. Okay. All right, music up. Microphones off. I will see you in 10. Congratulations. That is the last sprint of the morning. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for morning marches today. It was fun. I had a lot of fun. I really appreciate everyone being here, contributing to the conversation, helping each other out, answering each other's questions, and having fun discussions in the morning with and about writing and getting work done. Huge shout out to Kidopoi. Thank you so much for continuing your gift subscription that you received. I know that times are challenging, and any financial support that is given is greatly appreciated and helps, keep the lights on here. And if you're able and you feel that this information and this motivation to do writing sprints every morning is beneficial to you, please follow the channel to receive your notifications, and if you can, please subscribe to the channel to help unlock more emotes and help support the efforts here at WriterGreg on twitch.tv. Thank you so much to Aaron and Kidopoi, who have contributed their lemons to the 1 million lemon challenge. Again, 1 million lemons is our goal to collect before November 25th to have a 24-hour stream celebrating the end of NaNoWriMo. So that is what's going to be going on there. So, yeah, great. Thank you so much for everyone being here. Let us start looking. Oh, Walking Dead Lover, you contributed. Thank you very much. I'm going to pull up the calendar. People said that Red Fox is streaming. Going here, Shy Red Fox. Okay. It is a time for a lemon raid. Yes. Yep. Okay, Shy Red Fox / raid. Yep. All right. So, thank you so much. Have a great day. I will be here tonight, or whatever time zone, at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for evening edits, the 2 hours of editing sprints, very similar to what we did here this morning, working on edits, getting more chances to earn lemons for your for the contribution, or sprint takeovers. I'm really liking this idea of the sprint takeovers. I hope you are as well as we talk about it. So, thank you so much. Have a great day, and I will see you tonight for evening edits or tomorrow morning for morning marches. Goodbye, everyone.
It does require a lot of work and a lot of thought and a fair amount of research too. So thank you so much for the raid, WriterGreg. You guys are so sweet. Lemon raids, don't be sour. You guys are so fun.